everybody, and welcome. I'm Kathy Andis, and I'm with Simply Cards by Kathy. Today is Monday, although it does feel like a Sunday. It is Memorial Day. It is May 27th, 2024. I hope some of you are here with me live. If not, I hope you get to catch the replay. But I am excited to share with you a fun fold that is a window card that bends. Hi, Susan. Thank you for joining me. So I first saw this card, over about a year ago now, I think. Hi, Carla. And I saw Lisa Curcio make it. I made it at that time, and I kind of set it on the side. And I really wanted to share that with you today. There's a lot to the card, but it is easy to make. So I want to flip this over, and we're going to get started in just a minute because I want to take that time and be able to give you some pointers for putting this together. Hi, Mary. Thank you. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm really happy you found me. And if you're with me live, like Susan and Carla and Mary, thank you so much for joining me and your support. And if you catch me on the replay, I hope you enjoy it. And thank you also for your support. So we're going to flip this camera down, and I'm going to get started because I have lots to share. Okay, today I want to show you the stamps that I'm using because I think it's one people kind of miss. My first time through, I kind of missed it. Hi, Jeanette. Thank you for joining. This is Fields in Bloom. I love this stamp set. I've been playing with it all weekend, and you'll see the green all over my hands. But we're going to use this as our focal point for our bendable window card. And I'm going to show you how to use that. We're also going to be using 2 designer series papers. Now, the one great thing about our papers is, they're double-sided. So I'm using one from To Market, and I chose to use this one. I'm going to pair it up with Peach Pie, but some really beautiful designs, some vegetables and flowers and plaids and shopping bags, just really great. But I also needed a second piece of designer series paper. And because I chose that one with the flowers, I'm going to bring that back in here and show you the 2. I went to Unbounded Beauty, and I decided to pair it with, let me see if I can find it here. I know it's here. Here it is. I decided to pair it with this piece of designer series paper. So this is going to become our window, our bendable window. So I thought those 2 look pretty together. Oh, Mary, I can do a graduation card. Let me do that for you Thursday because I need one too. I have a grandson graduating tomorrow. So we can do that on Thursday. That sounds good. All right, so we're going to start off with one piece of 8.5 by 11. Okay, and you're going to use this entire piece of paper. Hey, Maria, thanks for joining. You're going to cut this in half at 4 1/4, and then you're going to cut it again in half at 5 1/2. So you're going to end up having 4 pieces of designer cardstock from one piece of paper, and each one is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, that's your card base. Once you get those cut, you're going to score at 2 1/8 on all 4 of them, which is half of 4 1/4. And you just want to go ahead then, and you're going to burnish them, again, folding into the hill. Make sure your edges are pretty well matched up, and you'll see why as we go along. I tried to do some of these just to kind of save you some time, but then I decided I really wanted you to see how to put this together without a lot of shortcuts. I think cutting the paper is fine. So here is our card base. Now, to put some paper on the card base. Remember I said I was using a piece from the market one. These are 2 by 5 3/8, because each one of these panels is 2 1/8 by 5 1/2. So these are cut 2 by 5 3/8. And we're going to go ahead and adhere them to each one of these panels. And this will become the basis for our card base. Now, if you're using designer series paper with a pattern, you want to be mindful of that, because you don't want your pattern to be going in one direction and on one side and in another direction. And we're going to put all these panels together to make our base. So that's the only, that's the big thing with this part of the card, is to make sure that you have, if you're using a patterned paper with a direction, is that they're all going in the same direction. So here's one piece. Let's go. Maria said it is rainy in Michigan. It is blustery here in Cleveland. We've got about 30-mile-an-hour winds. It feels like fall. It's gray and dark. It's been kind of a funny weekend for weather. So I hope you all had a good holiday weekend. For me, I kept thinking today was Sunday. I knew it wasn't. But I said to my husband, I do my video tonight, so I was planning dinner, and he said, it's Sunday. I said, no, it's not. It's Monday. It does feel like Sunday, though. So let's go ahead, and we're going to add these, and then we're going to be ready to put this together. I think this is truly a display-worthy card. I'm very excited to show it to you. There's a couple different ways we can do the window, and I'm going to show you one because the card isn't hard by any means, but takes a little bit to put together. I found it fun and kind of relaxing to do. And over the course of this week, I will be posting the same card, but using different dies for the windows to show you how to use a square or how to use a rectangle or how to use a circle. So, and I think that will be fun. But to do that all in one video, we'd be here for a while. So I thought it'd be a fun way to kind of carry this through for the week. And then we'll add our graduation card on Thursday. Okay, so one more set and we're ready to start assembling. So let's get this on here. Now you can use adhesive of choice. Feel free to use your tape runner or Stampin' Seal Plus if you want to. I chose the glue because, as usual, it allows me to slide or pick it up and move it if I don't get it straight. And I rarely get things straight the first time. So, all right. So now, I'm going to straighten that out just a little bit more. And we're going to put these together. All right. So here's our 4 pieces. Now, the next thing is to build our card base. So we're going to take these and adhere these together. Now, I'm going to use glue. Feel free to use your tape runner, 2-sided tape, the Stampin' Seal, whatever works for you. But my hands are full of glue, so I'm going to go ahead here and just put a little bit of sanitizer on. Now I'm going to bring in my silicone mat, and I'm going to add glue to one side, and you're going to bring it in and you're going to match them up so that the crease is right on that score line. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to add the glue to the part that's at the bottom. Now, another time, if you were using a patterned, a directional piece of patterned paper, this is the second time you're going to want to check direction. Because mine does not have a direction, I'm not concerned. Fold this in half. Push this up along right next to it, not over that score line. Make sure your edges are together nicely, and it'll slide with the glue, and then give it a good press. Hi, Denise. Thanks for joining. Okay, now we're ready to add another piece. So we're going to take another one, and we're going to do the same. So I'm going to add my multi-purpose glue here, right along the edge. And this glue, I think, is one of the best glues on the market because it just does adhere so well. And then I am going to open this up now and then do the same thing right up along the crease. Make sure my edges are, oops, stuck to my hand there. Let's get it back along the edge here. And now I'm going to pick it up and just make sure my edges are together. I'm going to slide it. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to give it a good press. Okay. Last panel. These two are going to adhere like this. Okay. So we're going to put glue. I'm going to do one side at a time. Just because I feel like it gives me more control. You do what you're comfortable with. But I am going to fold this in half again, and I'm going to put this here. Again, making sure my edges are even and meet. And this one does knot a little bit, so I just want to scoot it back a little bit. That's good. Okay, and give that a good press. And now we're ready to adhere our last panel. And then I'm going to show you what this looks like standing up. So now this is going to be our card base. So just adhere it down. Let me move this. And here's what your card base looks like. And it stands like that. Hi, Julie. Thank you for joining. You're in Ohio. Let me know what part. So here's our card base. Now we're ready to work on that bendable window. So let's do that next. To make the window, you need, remember I said, a piece of designer series paper, and I chose one that was more like a watercolor. I didn't want something to compete with the flowers because that's pretty bold. So I chose a piece of peach pie that matched my card base, but almost like a watercolor background. Now, this is 4.5 by 5. And we want to score this on the 4.5-inch side at a 1/2-inch mark on each side of this. So I waited to do that to show you. So I'm going to reach behind me and bring in my trimmer. Okay. And I want to make sure I have the 4.5-inch side, which I do. So I'm going to move this to the right to the 1/2-inch mark. Make sure my blade is out of the way, and I'm going to score this. Now, when scoring your designer series paper, I tend to score my cardstock. I'm pretty heavy-handed because I like a good score line. But if you score too hard with designer series paper, this is what's going to happen. It's going to actually tear your paper. So just kind of be mindful of that when you're working with your designer series paper with scoring. I have to really remind myself to be a little bit more ginger when I'm doing that. So here's our two pieces. Now, these are going to become our bendable window. So we're going to go ahead and fold here on the score line, and you want to make sure that you get a good edge on that, because this is going to what we're going to use to adhere to the card. This is going to become our window. So I'm going to go ahead and fold both of these back. Okay, Julie, you're in Salem. I'm up in near Avon and North Ridgeville, so west side of Cleveland. Okay, so these are our window panels. Now these are going to attach to the front and the back of the card. But before we do that, we need to make the window. Now, you can use whatever dies you want to for the window. I'm going to show you a couple options. I chose to use the Countryside Inn corners dies. And you want two dies that are close in size, but where one is a little bit smaller. So I chose to use the third largest for my window, and then this will be my focal point, and we'll get to that in a minute. Now, another option would be to use the deckled rectangle dies. This one's kind of big. Let's go down one. You can use which size, but here, if you were to use a deckled rectangle, here's one you could use. I think this is the fourth largest one, and then one below it for your focal point. Same if you're using squares or if you're using circles. So right now, I am going to use the two I've chosen, and I'm going to cut my window, but I'm going to cut both of them at the same time. So I'm going to put my two pieces together because I want the windows to be pretty close to the same. And I'm going to just take a little piece of tape, whether you use washi tape or you're using the Post-it note tape, whatever works for you. Now, those of you that like to measure things, by all means, measure and find the center. I'm going to eyeball it. So I want to make sure that it's pretty even side to side and top to bottom. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to anchor this down with a piece of tape because I don't want it to shift. And then we're going to die cut these both at the same time. So let's do that. Now, I do have my cut and emboss right next to me. So you're going to see me leave here for a minute and just go over and run this through. And this will be our window. Okay, and I'm back. All right, so let's remove this. I love this tape because it doesn't stick and tear. And it's really quite easy to get off. I'm just still very careful in taking it off. All right, and let's do this. Now, when you're done, you have two pieces here, the centers that you can use for something else. So I'm going to set those off to the side, and we're going to just work with our windows here. All right. Couple things. We are going to apply any type of adhesive you want to these strips, but not before I add a little bend to my windows. So I'm going to take a bone folder and I'm just going to gently, very gently, run my finger in the bone folder over that bottom edge, and look what a nice window, that curvature that you get for the window. So you want to do that to both of them. I was so excited to share this fun fold with you tonight that I just thought it was fun to make, and that you might, those of you that like fun folds might have fun making it. So we are now ready to add our window to our card. And to do that, we're going to add adhesive here. I'm just going to walk you through by telling you first. And then we're going to adhere it and add it here. You want this to be flat. You don't want it to buckle or pull. So we're going to do one side at a time. And I'm going to bring my silicone mat back in. And again, I'm an eyeballer. I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to put it where I think it needs to be for the middle. And I'm okay with that. And I'm also going to add glue to this side at the same time, which may end up being a mistake, but it worked for me the last couple days with this card. All right, so you've got 4 sides. It doesn't matter which 2 you pick. They're all the same. And I want to go ahead and get this about even. And I'm not going to press down quite yet. And there. Okay, so now I can press down, give it a nice, and now I'm going to lay this down. Make sure it's straight across the top. And give it a good press. Now, when you stand it up, here's your window. Not pretty cool, isn't it? All right, so there's one side. Now, on this side, I'm going to add a window. But there's 2 other things you can do. One would be to add a piece of designer series paper like we have here and add a strip of basic white to put a stamped image, sign your card, if you didn't want to do a double window. That's one way of doing it. Another way is just to add the pattern paper, and you have your card like it is. But I'm doing a double window. So let's go ahead and add this one. Now again, I'm going to add my glue to both sides. And then when we're done putting our windows on, I'm going to show you how we do the bendable mechanism, which is very easy. So what do you think so far? Let me know. Does it look like it's hard? I'm hoping not. I was hoping to break it down into pieces, parts for you, so that it looked like something you'd want to try. Okay, so we've got our window. Now I'm going to do the same on this side. I want to get this so it's about even on top and bottom. Even margin. Give it a good press. Let's make sure that looks straight. Okay, then I'm going to tuck on my flap, make sure my card is straight, and press that side down. Okay, now look at that. You have a bendable window, front and back, so you have a fun fold card. So now let's work on the mechanism. Okay, for the mechanism, for our pop out, I have a piece of 1 by 2.5, and then you score at the 1/2 inch on both sides. And this is going to become the mechanism that this card, where the center will pop out. Now, this card does fit in a standard A2 envelope, and I'm going to show you that when we're done. And I actually have a second card to show you. So let's do this. Now, 2 ways of doing this. You can take this and again, lightly bend with your bone folder. And then you're going to add your adhesive here and here. And we're going to adhere it in the middle. So you want it to be in the middle. Now, if you bothers you that you don't have a middle, by all means, take your paper, put just a little pinch in there so you know where the middle is. Let me do that. And then you can adhere it that way. And I didn't pinch it very well, but I probably would not do that anyway. So I'm going to add my glue. And we're going to go ahead and add our mechanism. Now I want it to be pretty even from side to side and top to bottom. And that looks pretty good actually. And then I'm just going to adhere it and let it sit and dry for a minute. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. And then I'm going to take you back and show you how that's going to bend. Now this one, I'm not going to bend it. I'm just going to adhere it like it is. And you'll see why, because the card is going to bend it on its own. So let's do this. Well, Susan says she's never seen, well, Susan, I hadn't either till a year ago, but it's so much fun. So let's add this here, and I'm just going to press that down. Now, look at this when you open up the card. It bends for you. Oh, this one I didn't let sit long enough. So make sure that you let this dry before you bend your card. And I'm going to set that off so it can do that. Now, the last piece to our card is to make that pop out portion for this window card. So I have a piece of basic white, and we're going to use that Fields of Bloom stamp set. Now remember, we're using one smaller of the Countryside dies. So I want to make sure that I have the right size. So here was the one I cut out, and here's the next one down. All right, so this is what we're going to use to stamp. Now, this is small. There's two ways of doing it. You can cut this out and stamp your image, or you can stamp everything and cut it out. I'm going to stamp because I want to show you how to use that stamp set. I really love it. And then we'll cut it out. Because it's photopolymer, I am bringing in my piercing mat. And I'm also going to grab a piece of copy paper just to cover this up. Now, the first stamp that we're going to use, these are pretty big stamps if you see them. This is the one for the, it's two-step. This is the leaves, and then here are the flowers. So I'm going to use my bigger block, and I'm just going to lay this right along the edge, and it fits perfect. And I'm going to ink this up with garden green. Reason I chose garden green is it's what's in the papers for the market papers, and it just looked pretty with it, so I stuck with it. So let's ink this up. And I'm going to go ahead, and I'm not going to go up very high. Reason being, I want to be able to sign it and add a greeting. So let's stamp here. Okay, and now I'm going to clean this real quick, and I'm going to bring in my flowers. Now, the flowers are about the same size, so I'm just going to lay these down, but I want to show you a trick. You have to line these up because you can see all the little holes here, or white areas where those flowers are going to fit in. So I look for like something in particular in my pattern, and I'm going to pick these three at the bottom, and I'm going to look for something that fits in there. And that way I'm going to know where to line it up. And it looks like it's these right here. So now I'm going to ink this up, and I am using Blackberry Bliss. I want to stay with that nice bright color. That's one of my favorites. And we're going to stamp our flowers. So I am going to ink the whole stamp and make sure I get some good coverage. All right, that looks good. And now let's realign this here. And I'm going to find my focal point again of where that's going to fit in. And you can see all those extra white spaces and just press down and line up. I think this is one of the easiest two-step stamps I've used. So here's the basis for the bottom of our front of our card. Now next I want to, I thought I'd stamp the clouds, and this is also in that Fields of Flowers stamp set. So I'm going to bring in some Balmy Blue, and I'm going to ink this up. That looks pretty good. And I want to kind of figure out where I'm going to put this. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to stamp my clouds. So I'm going to come in right about here. All right. And now I'm simply going to add my greeting. So if I go back to here, and again, eyeballing it, I'm going to bring in Happy Birthday, and I'm going to ink it up with Tuxedo Black, the Memento ink. And I'm just going to come in here, and I'm going to stamp part of it on the cloud and part in the white. All right. Now we're going to cut this out, and this is going to be our pop-up. So I'm going to come up like that, and I want to make sure I get that in there. So I'm going to secure this with my tape, and then I'm going to run this through my cut and emboss machine and show you how we're going to attach this to the card. So let me go back over to the side here and run this through. And here's our pop-up portion of our card. So let's take this off. All right. So that looks pretty good. Now, the only other thing is we might add a butterfly to that, but let's add this first to our card. So this is now dry. So when I open it, I'm going to hold it like this, and hopefully you can see those pop-up mechanisms down below there. So you want this to line up in the middle. So this is the front. It says Happy Birthday. You're going to go right in the middle of where this crease or fold is, and you're just going to add, you can use your tape runner. I'm sticking with the glue. Now, another great thing to use with this would be glue dots. You could put 3 of them right in a row on that center fold. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere this right here. And I'm going to just hang on to it for a minute, give it a good press because I want it to stick. And that adheres pretty quick. And while it is, let's go ahead and I'm going to grab I had pulled out my brushed brass butterflies. And here they are. We're going to add one to the front, and then we're going to finish up our back. So while that's drying, we're going to pull these out. And we're just going to add one to the front of our card. So I'm going to go with a big one, and I'm just going to add it right here. All right. So here's the front. When you open it up, this is what it looks like. It actually keeps the bend in the fold. Now for the back, I went ahead and did that ahead of time. And I stamped "So Happy to Celebrate You." And then I used the small stamp from this stamp set. It has leaves and flowers and added that to the bottom. And it leaves me enough room to sign my name. So I'm going to go in here and add my glue. And then I'm going to come back in and adhere it and give it a good press and just hold it for a second. And then here's your pop-up card. So I know that's hard to see, but I want to show you what it looks like. So here's the front, happy birthday. And then here is the back, so happy to celebrate you. It looks so much nicer standing up. So, but I will have pictures on my blog for that. So easy card. Just a little few more steps than usual. So here's the second one I made. I used the same designer series papers, but just different patterns. And this one is a thanks. And when you flip it around, may the good you do come back to you. So just use your stamp sets that you have, make for your greetings. And I'm going to bring you back to me. So I hope you enjoyed today's fun fold window card that bends. It was a lot of fun to make, and I was really excited to share it with you. If you enjoyed today's video, please give me a thumbs up. It helps me grow my channel. Feel free to share the video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. I will be back on Thursday, and I promise Mary one of the cards will be a graduation card. We'll probably do more than one. And I can't wait to see you on Thursday. Have a great week, everyone. Stay safe and well, and I'll see you soon.